Hey, John.
Eric, it's podcast night again.
It is podcast night. How do I sound?
You sound amazingly clean.
So, so since we actually decided to do this for real, or at least it seems like I actually went and bought something better than the $20 mic I had been using.
You,
I got the Rode Podcaster mic. So trying it out for the first time.
it does, I must say, sound really nice, and I'll be very curious because it's my turn to edit this. I'll be very curious to see how much better you sound than me. Not that you don't always sound better than me, but my current podcast mic is a $20 mic that is noise isolated by sitting on top of a pillow. So, hey.
All the previous episodes seem to have sounded reasonably decent. I think going back to some of the really early ones, I can tell.
Yeah.
But
well,
maybe
the pillow was introduced a few episodes in, so
yeah, maybe I'm just thinking about it. Anyways.
Yeah. All right.
So tonight,
Awesome.
I've got a pet peeve, maybe a little bit of follow up, and then since we mentioned last week we were going to talk about Google I/O, I guess I just got a couple comments on it, but I don't really want to talk much about it. There's too many other fun things to talk about.
Okay, I do have one sort of major-ish topic that I was bringing to the table.
All right. So, at the risk of getting myself in trouble, I actually, maybe we could link to my little tweet storm on it. I had a little mini tweet rant.
I saw that
earlier today because I hit my periodic password changes, and last week or the week before, hit periodic password changes. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm using a password manager. I don't even know what my password is. And then we had World Password Day.
Yep.
And posted up on the walls were, advice about how to have good password hygiene, with the toothpaste and toothbrush. And one of the bullet points was change your password every 90 days. And I'm going, no.
Pay attention to the NIST guidelines.
Yes, exactly. And then today I was taking, some mandatory training I think anybody has to take. And a question comes up about, what is good password, pick 5 out of these 6 things that are good password hygiene. And one of them was periodic changes to passwords. And
you're like, I know I have to choose that. I have to choose that. Or I know it's the right answer. Oh, you intentionally missed it.
Oh, I intentionally missed it so I could take a screenshot and put my fist in the air and yell for a minute. But anyways, it's, the National Institute of Standards and Technology says their digital identity guidelines. We can put all these links in the show notes. The National Cybersecurity Center in the UK, both have said, don't do this to people. It's not good, but I do know why companies do it. And do you know why?
It's easy.
You want to guess?
Why?
No. PCI compliance says they must.
Oh, does it?
And companies follow PCI compliance because nobody wants to have an auditor come in and say, you're not following PCI standards. Who cares if PCI is not up to date with what the US government or the UK government actually cares about? But PCI compliance is also a self-imposed mandate. It is not a federal requirement. The federal government does not require big companies be PCI compliant. It's this internal, although some states do mandate PCI compliance. And PCI is the payment card industry.
I was going to say, I thought that was for Visa, MasterCard.
Yes, but they do have, it's actually PCI DSS, and the DSS stands for Data Security Standard.
Yep.
But again, it's not required. But the PCI DSS 8.2.4, and I quote, change user passwords, passphrases at least once every 90 days. So that's why this myth that has been pervasive, the guidelines that say don't do that from governments, has been around since 2016. So it's 2 years old by now. Let's pick it up, PCI.
Yeah. And what it says though is you should change your passwords upon evidence of compromise or
Yes.
suspicion of compromise.
Yes. That's right. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
If, something's gone on, but anyways,
Yeah.
that's just kind of my beef here on that one. So,
and actually one of
Security
the
theater.
things that is very interesting that would be possible now that really I don't know of an easy way to do it prior to Troy Hunt releasing the Have I Been Pwned API is, being able to go through and pass your hashes up to there to see whether or not they've been seen in any breaches and, kind of force password changes targeted.
Yeah. Yeah.
I suspect that that'll happen in some. I know that there's lots and lots and lots of plugins I've seen like popping up all over the place in the last month or so about when passwords changes are requested or when accounts are being created. That there's lots of plugins now for various frameworks that will go and check the password against Have I Been Pwned.
Yeah.
Automatically.
And on the change every 90 days. Yeah, sure. If you've got a high security classified server or classified, or what's the right word? Something with data you want to keep very secure that you want to allow access to certain individuals, sure, make them change the password every 90 days. But it should be few and far between. Me logging in to get my email, work email, or Office 365, even Microsoft says don't force people to change their passwords every 90 days unless there's some kind of compromise. So outdated PCI DSS.
All right.
Get with the program. Catch up.
All
right.
That's a long rant.
Rant over.
Pet peeve.
Pet peeve.
I know.
Fist in the air. All right. And then second, I had a little sort of follow-up from last week.
Okay.
I remember you were talking about, hey, why don't they just put a mesh router in with those little Google pucks or the Google Home or the I'm going to mute mine so I don't fire it off, the Amazon Echo Dots or the Alexas, because they're kind of all over your house. And I was listening to the talk show podcast. John Gruber had Ben Thompson of stratechery.com, a great writer, and they were discussing exactly that. Watch out for that. But they were doing it in the context.
I actually just listened to that tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. They were doing it in the context of how maybe Apple missed the boat on the airport routers. They've recently, stopped supporting their own internal routers, but
right, if they hadn't let them languish for a decade.
Yeah. And now my question is, I have Eero. You like Eero. You also have the Ubiquity stuff. That's kind of the more geeky end of the Eero is the set it and forget it, and the Ubiquity is the I'm awesome, but you have to configure me.
Yeah.
So I love the Eero system, but if I'm Eero, am I worried about that? They got to be thinking about that. And do I, as Eero, go call up Amazon or Google now that Apple's out of the picture? They've kind of positioned themselves as the Apple of routers. Do they sidle up to Amazon or Google and say, hey, before you make your own puck, although I guess maybe not so much Google, because Google already has a competitor, or do you sidle up to some of the big global ISPs, the Comcasts or the Telefonicas of the world, and try to offer mesh networking from the ISP?
Of the three biggies, Google, Amazon, or Apple, they could totally build in to Amazon. There are lots and lots of Amazon. Sorry, I almost said her name, but I've got one sitting right here out of reach, so I can't just mute her. But the Echo gal in a tube is being integrated into tons of items, right? There's the
oh yeah.
who are the the Sonos speakers,
Right.
which
Yep.
by the way, sorry, one of that blows my mind because they've actually somehow integrated both with Apple and Amazon. But so if Eero wanted to do that, if they wanted to put a speaker in them and basically turn those into a dot-ish thing, I think they could do it with Amazon very easily.
I didn't think about that. Just have them sign up to Amazon's program and just
made for Echo
pretty
or
much
whatever.
add a microphone, and now they've got an Echo.
Yeah, I don't think you could do that without. Obviously, you have to have some sort of a speaker just so that it can respond to you. But without some sort of a speaker too for relatively okay music. I guess I haven't seen data, but I suspect that even on the Echo Dot, lots and lots and lots of people listen to it on music and aren't that picky about what the fidelity is.
Yeah, that would be my family for the most part.
Totally.
They just put even the little tiny Echo Dot, which is really bad speakers, they just have it low volume while they're doing homework or whatever. So
we've got one not far from the kitchen table dining room table. And so anytime, even at dinner or something like that, somebody makes a joke or mentions something about music, one of the kids will often shout out, hey, Amazon, play whatever.
Right.
And they don't tend to be enjoyable songs. They tend to be like
Weird Al.
Well, those are enjoyable. No, there are worse things.
My wife and you might disagree with that opinion.
Well,
she rolls her eyes whenever we load up the Weird Al.
Tell me you watched the Weird Al polka for Hamilton?
I did.
Okay.
I enjoyed that very much.
That was
but
cool.
It got eye rolls from the ladies in the household.
Oh well, that's as expected, but it was quite good. All right, we better get into our topics here.
Yeah.
So my topic is it's more a male client vulnerability for rendering HTML. Did you read this thing this week?
I did read through the website. Well, I read an article on it, and then apparently it started getting a lot of airplay. So the eFail, the website, came out, and I have only skimmed it. I haven't read it in detail.
Yeah,
efail.de
is the website, and obviously we'll put that in the show notes. But this was pretty tricky, pretty good. The gist of the vulnerability, at least, well, there's a couple of vulnerabilities, and the CBC one and the SMIME ones are a little bit trickier to get to, but I think they're basically along the same lines. It's you have an encrypted email, and so obviously you shouldn't be able to get to the contents of an encrypted email because it will only be decrypted if you have the right key. But in a multi-part MIME message, you can have multiple parts. And so the most easiest to understand one of these is the direct exfiltration that they're explaining, which is basically to take the encrypted part of the MIME message and wrap it in a unencrypted part before and an unencrypted part afterwards, and then basically use HTML above and below, HTML fragments, so that when the the mail client decrypts the inner package and recombines the MIME message, the encrypted part will be in, for example, an image tag where the unencrypted text is being sent to a source of the person's choosing. So like, the beginning of the block is image source equals wherever you want to send it to, and then incomplete fragment of HTML, and then it decrypts it, appends it, and then you close the tag at the end of it. And what happens? Well, if the client is attempting to render HTML, the unencrypted data from the middle block will be sent to the site that you chose to wrap it in.
Who does it actually affect? Is it only people using OpenPGP, or
No.
some of the does this affect pretty much everybody that uses email or an email client?
If you scroll way down, so if you're on that site and you scroll down past kind of the facts right above the coverage, they have attacks on the MIME clients and the PGP clients, and they did Outlook 2007, 10, 13, 16, Windows 10 Mail, Live Mail, a lot of clients that I don't even know what they are. They don't appear to have tested Pine, so I think you're safe if you use Pine. All right, sorry,
that's a blast from the past.
That was an old joke, but but most of the MIME clients or SMIME clients were vulnerable with no user interaction required. So they did kind of bucket it too with, if for some reason, maybe you were prompted or something like that.
I don't have to install a PGP package on these or anywhere claim that I want to use PGP. Right?
No. Well, no. This is basically if somebody man in the middles your mail traffic, right? Because SMTP by itself isn't a secure protocol, right?
Right.
So if somebody can get into your mail stream and edit your mail, they can't tamper with the encrypted block, but they can add MIME parts before and after it, right?
Okay.
Alter the mail outside that block and pass it on, and then it will decrypt your data, send it to them. So it does require somebody to be a man in the middle.
So as long as I am either and that was one of the things I saw was from the developers of GPG or OpenPGP or wherever it was. Their comment was, well, here's 2 ways to mitigate the attack. Don't use HTML emails, or just use authenticated encryption. I don't know if we want to go into authenticated encryption point, but who doesn't use HTML emails anymore? Isn't that pretty much everybody?
Well, and I mean, one of the facts in here about HTML is you may not have sent an HTML, or you may not, if you're not rendering with HTML, then maybe, if you've turned it off on the browser, then you might not be. So actually, let's hit those things separately. If you don't send HTML emails, somebody can still turn it into an HTML email with the headers and still wrapping it. So that doesn't protect you at all. If you are receiving an HTML or a non-HTML email, and you're worried about it, you've disabled HTML rendering in your client, then you might not exfiltrate that. But I think the net, and this is another one of the questions that was answered in the facts, was if anybody else on that email, if that email goes to anyone else, then and they don't also have the HTML rendering turned off in their browser, it's possible that it could get exfiltrated from them. So, okay, all participants have to be secure, or because with the multiple Evidently, with
Yeah.
multiple recipients, the encrypted emails are, or the mails are encrypted with the public keys of all the recipients.
And and is this only email? Well, now I'm looking at like so initially I thought, well, okay, so maybe this affects me if I'm using a mail client, but one of the things here says Gmail as well. So even if I'm using Gmail in a browser, not using a, well, I guess technically that's a mail client, but even even if I'm using Yahoo Mail or Gmail or something through a browser, that is also potentially affected.
If they're rendering HTML and honoring things like links to go retrieve images and things like that, which in order to render the email they would have to.
So if you turn off, like, there's a lot of mail clients that allow you to turn off downloading of links. That will that
I think
will
that
that
would
help?
that would have the effect.
Hmm.
I'm projecting this now. I'm not reading from one of their facts, but I would
Right.
expect that to have the same effect as turning off HTML rendering.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So who on planet Earth is not affected by this?
uh, let's see. The people who use PGP and use a client that use the uh, extended authentication, I think it's called.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, in some of the stuff on Twitter, some of the responses to this were that, well, PGP has had, is it called extended authentication? I'm sorry. Hold on.
Authenticated encryption.
Authenticated encryption. Thank you. This was introduced in 2000 or 2001, and but it's not a mandatory part of the standard. It's only optional, and so many or most clients don't actually even implement it, and so it's not used. It's not used. I don't believe even significantly, let alone ubiquitously. So, yeah.
And the kicker is, pretty much it affects everybody, and there's really no way for you to save yourself because anybody that the mail goes to, if they're using HTML emails, they're going to cause problems.
Yes. Yes.
So I can secure my own backdoor all I want, but everybody else,
Yeah.
uh.
Yeah. No, it's a
So this is now worse than I thought it was, or it sounds worse than I guess I initially thought.
it seems pretty. I mean, to be honest, I think that the and again, I don't have data in front of me, but the vast majority of emails aren't encrypted at all. Right? I mean, there's
Right,
like, what's the
probably.
percentage of people that are using either Secure MIME or PGP? Even that small. So, yes, it's awful. I think, but it's awful for the 1% of people that are using it. But it's for the 1% of people that we're trying to like really be able to show no, this email has been untampered with,
Hmm.
and trying to do bolt on security to protocols that are in widespread use is very, very, very hard. So,
Oh, and it's not even PC or browser. iOS mail app is on the list.
oh yeah,
Pretty much, if you send email from anywhere to anyone,
yes,
you're toast.
yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, that's fun.
You like that? You like that? So, I mean, if I had to guess, let's see, did it say anything in here? If I had to guess, I would guess that the authenticated encryption becomes a mandated standard within a few weeks or months, and the clients will have to move to that. So I sorry, I didn't actually follow up and read more about that, but my just from the name of it, my belief there is that that would then prevent you from tampering with the rest of the email, so that
Right.
you couldn't add parts to the
Huh.
multi-part MIME.
Yeah, I wonder what else it'll break. Because email is duct tape and baling wire
Yeah.
in general, right?
Yep. As anybody who has, telnetted to a mail server and sent an email by typing in a couple of lines can tell you. Although I haven't done that in probably 15 years, so I presume that
Yeah.
there's a few more.
I just
Not
remember
presume.
being excited about switching my uh, SMTP server from what port? What's the not from the non 25 to 535 or whatever it was that Google announced. This is years ago.
Hmm.
Hey, you can now use SSL. You connect to your SMTP server over SSL,
Right.
and this basically says, yeah, you can do that, but it won't help. That's nice. Good job. Yay, encryption. But yeah, we still got you.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Apple Mail and iOS Mail were on the direct exfiltration, so that's the worst of the worst. Although it does have, it has, let's see, it was disclosed February 10th, and they have a tracker. So
Right.
I guess they gave them oh yeah, they probably gave them, here's your 3 months, March,
Yep.
April, May.
Cool.
What you got for me?
Well, I guess last week we mentioned that we were going to talk about Google I/O, but I don't really know if there's anything really to say. So I'll just throw two observations from Google I/O. Android P. I think I'm still betting it's either Popsicle or Pop Tart.
And you've been
Depends on
running
the
it for a little over a week now.
Yes, and all my Office apps died. They crash on load. So
Oh,
that was
lovely.
yay me. It's all right. It's all right. I just can't get mail on my phone. That's probably a plus for me right now. So one thing from Android P, which I thought was really cool, is they are actually going to be able to tell you how you spent your time. I don't know if you used or used in the past or still use Rescue Time on
Rescue
your
time.
Mac.
Yep.
So it feels that it's able to say, hey, you spent so much time in each of these different apps, just to try to educate users of how they are wasting their time.
Spending their
Sorry.
time.
How they are spending their
Well, that's okay.
free
I'm
time
sure I
doing
could
things.
either a game or for many people it might be Facebook or Twitter.
So I look forward to the WWDC Apple's event where they announce the same feature, and then the Android fanboys whine and complain about Apple copying Android again. But the one feature, I think my favorite out of all the new features, it is so simple, but I really think it will help, is when you lay your phone down on a desk, if you put it face down, it silences all notifications, all buzzes, no phone calls,
Oh,
whatever. Well,
I read that.
I'm sure it's configurable on phone calls, but I think that is great so that I can lay it down face up if I want phone calls or whatever. But if I want to try to focus on something, all I got to do is lay it down on its face. I think that's brilliant, personally. I don't know how they're going to make sure that it's not in my back pocket or in my backpack or something like that. But in general, that I think is a great idea. And then the second topic I wanted to bring up, which was the one that got everybody up in arms on Twitter. So you know which one it is.
I
The
do.
Google Duplex.
Yes.
Right. This was the controversial one. The demo that they showed had their AI, their Google Assistant AI, call up and get a reservation. I think they did two: a reservation, and then for a restaurant, and then a reservation for a haircut. And I think on the one hand you're thinking, "Wow, this is really cool," but frankly, on the other hand, you're kind of creeped out because the AI was trying to mimic human behavior. It did the kind of gave the extra human elements to that.
Right.
And the controversy was, hey, Google didn't identify themselves as an AI. This is horrible. This is evil. And to be honest, I thought that might have been, well, I don't, might have. I just think that was a little unfair. I mean, if you're testing this, maybe they could have chosen who they were going to test, or maybe they could have, let someone else know ahead of time. But if you want to get an actual real reaction from somebody, a natural reaction, you can't tell them, because then it's like
Right.
the doctor who
Right.
says, all right, I'm gonna check your breathing. They never tell you they're gonna check your breathing. They say they're gonna check your pulse, because you can't control that. But in the meantime, they're watching your breathing, because if you say I'm gonna check your breathing, then you can't help but breathe weird.
Right.
So, I get what they were trying to go for, but after the fact, they should come clean. And they did say that, hey, we're going to make sure that we announce themselves as a Google Assistant, and I don't think anybody's going to care. I think people are still going to interact with it in somewhat normal way, at least over time they will, because if you look at the things that we love in sci-fi, we love the people who interact with the robots and the metal,
Right.
bare metal pieces, right?
Well, I'm just picturing like how low fidelity of a interface is it for the Google Assistant to call up, get a phone tree, and like walk through the phone tree to get down to representative and eventually come to somebody that they can ask a question of. I'm mostly on the wait and see. I think that the tech is pretty fascinating. I think that if you combine that, remember a couple of weeks ago we talked about the deep fake site or thing. Oh, actually, no, that wasn't with you. That was with Peter.
Peter, yeah.
But Peter mentioned that Adobe was working on, essentially a Photoshop for sound, where you could, put in a bunch of samples of somebody talking, and then they would be able to take out all the whatever the syllables are. Phonemes. There's a word for it, but I don't remember. Basically, all the the speech fragments that they use to rebuild. So, that's the sort of thing though that I would eventually worry about, is not necessarily the Google Assistant showing up, but now you could you easily fake somebody calling up and doing anything, right? Which, okay, so if Bill Clinton or Obama or Trump calls you up, you're like, yeah, right, that's a fake. But how often is voice identification used these days? I mean, I'm not really programmatically, but for talking to family or talking to acquaintances, or on being recorded for this line is being recorded.
My voice is my passport.
Yeah. Thankfully, we never really got into there. We got to your finger and now your face. But that's I think the area that I would start viewing it with even more skepticism.
Yeah, I think interacting with AIs naturally is just going to come naturally to people. I don't think it's going to be. I think people are just going to assume that, we're already starting to become accustomed to that with Alexa and Google and the Siri.
Mm-hmm.
So talking to someone that's not real, that's not a human, is not going to be a problem, I don't think.
My kids love it, and actually when they have friends over, and friends even families who have kids even younger, they'll just sit down here and talk to her all night, ask for jokes and have her play songs and just giggle and oftentimes their speech is not as clear as it needs to be. So they're frustrated and yelling at her sometimes for, she's not understanding. And I'm like, well, you kind of got to sound out your R's a little bit better. That kind of thing. But did you see the thing I tweeted about? There was an article that I don't remember what site was on, but we can dig it back up. That said, it was all about only 30% of Echo users have ordered things online, or maybe it was voice assistant users have ordered things online, and why don't more people do it? And it's all sorts of things about lack of trust and stuff like that. Whereas I'm like, maybe I'm just the glass is a third full, but why the heck wasn't that story? It's only been let's see, Echo was released in 2014. It's only been 4 years and already 30% of device owners have ordered something using their voice. That's pretty astounding to me. I would turn that around and be like amazed that that many people have done it. Anyway,
I have done it, but only because I got a notification saying $5 off your next order if you order it through Alexa.
Right.
That's the only reason I haven't done it, other than because I'm a cheapskate.
Yeah.
Other than to save money.
Right. I have to say I haven't done it, not even to save the $5. So I have asked for what the deals are a few times just to see.
Right.
But I buy esoteric stuff, it seems like, on on Amazon. So
awesome.
I don't know. Not to the, hey, order me paper towels kind of thing. All right.
Now we're going long tonight.
Yep. All right. You had another topic for me though.
You just jump to something fun. I'll just make my topic my something fun because it is kind of funny.
Okay. All right. What's fun?
So my goofy little fun thing was the SEC, our beloved Security and Exchange Commission, has set up a bogus ICO website to try to educate people about ICO scams. And we'll link the website. You go to the website, and it is, saying, hey, pre-ICO sale is live, 15% bonus. I mean, it mimics what every other ICO has been doing for the last year. Well, not every, but most of the ICO scams is just mimicking. Download our white paper. Here's, lots of fancy words and big words and pictures of, champagne glasses and palm trees, and you get the discounts if you invest by this one, this date, that date. It's got meet the team, and it's got fancy pictures. It's really well done, the website. But then if you submit your email or click on the buy now or anything like that, it goes to the, it even downloads an actual white paper with, ICO junk in it. But if you go and click one of the buy coins now, you get sent to the investor.gov website, and kind of gives you a little slap on the wrist. Hey, you're responding to an investment offer that is actually a scam. Don't do it. Frankly, I think it's probably 6 months too late. I think most of the scams are probably the big ones have worked their way through. People have wised up. But hey, good on the U.S. government to
that's pretty funny.
Try something new. But yeah, the website's hilarious.
I gotta say, I'm looking at if I invest at the silver level, I can invest by June 30th to receive a double 12.5% discount. I assume that means a 25% discount. However,
you should click the link and see.
If I invest at the gold level, I can receive a single 25% discount. So, by my math, I should definitely invest in the gold because I want the 25% discount because it is more than a double 12.5.
That's right.
I don't know. Sorry.
That's like the Shel Silverstein poem about the kid who trades $1 for 2 quarters because 2 is more than 1, and then he trades for 3 dimes because 3 is more than 2, and then 4 nickels because
Right.
4 is more than 3. Yeah. There you go.
Right.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yep. Okay, so I did click the buy now, and it goes to the investor.gov. Nice.
Right, with all your red flags.
Yes. Oh, very
Anyways.
cool. Okay. Well, your something fun was actually like security related, and which is interesting. Mine
Purely on
that
accident.
I was going to do something totally bizarre and kind of dumb, but I thought of it. I thought of it earlier today, as I was, to be honest, as I was in the kitchen making lunch, and I was like, I don't know, something fun. One of my criteria for this, in my head at least, are things that if you told me tomorrow that thing was gone out of my life, I would be sad. I would actually run out and buy another one. And this is a, to be honest, it's a knife that my father gave me. So I don't even know what it cost, but if it was gone tomorrow, I would pay serious money to have it back. And it's a Cutco cheese knife, which there are lots of jokes you could get into here, I guess, but we won't go there. But the knife is so awesome because you can slice the thinnest thing of cheese. It's amazing, and I'll have to show you a picture at some point in time. You've never seen it.
I don't just Googled Cutco cheese knife. Do
you see how it has all the holes cut out of the blade?
Yes.
So there's no friction, like, so I cooked myself up a egg and cheese and ham croissant earlier today, and I was using that, and I was like, this is going to be my something fun tonight because I love this knife. And okay, so you're already ahead of me because I've never even Googled it. I've seen them at like the show floors on the, come listen to
cheap.
Me pitch you on buying a knife set or a cookware set at like the state fair, which I've just only walked by. But I have to say that right there, my friend, is money well spent. And I don't even know how much money is, but you get it and you'll love it. All right, there you go. I don't know why I'm a pitch man tonight for something, but that was seriously earlier today when I was making my lunch. I was like, this knife, this is awesome. All right, there you go. It's kind of dumb.
It's the simple things.
It is the simple things. It's the things that make you happy. So that's my dumb something fun. It's not online.
That's awesome.
It's not even anything, but. You check it out. It's awesome.
$73 from Cutco.com, and they have different styles.
I'd still pay it. I gotta say, if for some reason it disappeared out of my knife drawer, I would be like,
I don't know. Well, it looks like they have different styles.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
I don't know.
That's the ballpark.
It was a Christmas present from my father at some point in time years ago, though. Like Anyway, there you go.
That was fun.
All right. Good night, Eric.
All right. See ya.